Hello students. In the last video we showed you, or in a previous video we showed you that the angle sum of any quadrilateral is 360 degrees, and also that the angle sum of any triangle is 180 degrees. Well, is there a rule, for example, the angle sum of a pentagon or a hexagon? Well, it turns out there actually is a rule, and in fact there's one rule for all of the polygons. So let's go ahead and find out what that rule is. Okay, so quickly recall the angles of a triangle add to 180 degrees, which you probably learned some time ago. Now we showed you recently in a previous video that the angle sum of a quadrilateral is 360, and we did that by dividing it into two triangles. The angle sum of each triangle was 180 degrees. And if you add those two together, 180 plus 180, you get 360. So any quadrilateral, the angle sum is 360 degrees. Okay, let's have a look now at a pentagon. So get my straight line tool. Now this one I can actually divide it into 1, 2, 3 triangles. Now, each of those triangles has an angle sum of 180 degrees. Let me get a different colored pen here. I'll just use a black one, I think. 180 degrees for that triangle, 180 degrees for that triangle, 180 degrees for that triangle. And if I mark all the angles in, like so, there's the first triangle, there's the second triangle, and there's the third triangle. What you can see is the angle sum of the pentagon is the same as 3 triangles. Well, 180 plus 180 is 360. 360 plus 180 is 540. So the angle sum of any pentagon is 540 degrees, because you can always divide a pentagon into 3 triangles. Just pick a corner or pick a vertex, divide it into 3 triangles, and then 3 times 180 is 540. What if we have a hexagon with 6 sides? Well, I've already done the dividing up to save a bit of time, but as you can see, we have 4 triangles here. 180 plus 180 is 360. 180 plus 180 is 360. So this, in fact, is the sum of 4 triangles. So that's going to be 4 times 180, and that gives us 720 degrees. And we can continue this with other polygons. A 7-sided polygon will can be broken up into 5 triangles. An 8-sided polygon can be broken up into 6 triangles, and so on. So let's go ahead and summarize that. What is the angle sum of any pentagon? I'm not going to actually write the answer here. What I'm going to write is the rule for finding it, because that's what's really important. So pentagon is just 3 triangles, so 3 times 180. Pentagon, by the way, has 5 sides. Hexagon is 4 times 180, and a hexagon has 6 sides. Continuing, a septagon can be broken up into 5 triangles, each of which has an angle sum of 180. An octagon is 6 triangles, each with an angle sum of 180. And what do you think about a 17agon? So why don't you figure out that one, and then see if you can figure out the general rule. And what we're going to use is probably the letter n for the number of sides, lowercase n. So n is the number of sides. So what we're looking for is a rule for the angle sum of any polygon. Okay, 17agon quite obviously has 17 sides. Notice that each of these numbers is 2 less than those, so the angle sum of a 17agon is just going to be 15 times 180. So when you're answering questions on this, you could just use this fact just here, that you take 2 away from that and then multiply that number by 180, and that'll give you the right answer. But let's go ahead and work out the algebraic equation for it. So n is the number of sides. So the rule basically is I have to take the number of sides, subtract 2, and then all of that, so I need brackets, all of that is multiplied by 180. So there's our rule just there. Now that multiply looks a bit too much like the letter X, so the better way to write that is to put the 180 out the front, use the implied multiply, not the actual sign itself, and that's the best way to write the expression for the number of sides of any polygon. So if you have a 17-sided polygon, 17 minus 2 is 15. 180 times 15 gives us the correct answer. Okay, one question for you to try. What is the sum of the interior angles of this polygon? Stop the video and have a go, please. Okay, let's go ahead and count up the sides. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the rule says the angle sum of a polygon, I'll put a big capital A, capital A, capital S, angle sum is 180 multiplied by the number of sides, take away 2. So in this case, the angle sum of the polygon is 180 multiplied by, in fact, I won't write that yet, so I'll just undo that. I'll stick with the same format. 10 take 2, therefore 180 multiplied by 8. And how are we going to do that one? Well, 10 times, or 100 times 8 is 800. 8 times 8 is 640, so that gives me 1,440 degrees. And there we go. That's how we find the angle sum of any polygon.